3 draws Mouse, 2-2. Everyone has a draw at this point except Flipside, who have only played 1 game. So they're going to be another one that's going to have a really tight schedule moving forward. But with that 1 win, that 1 game played, they sit in 3rd on the standings, which is nuts. So, I mean, it's pretty crazy. That said, we'll take a quick peek over at Vulcan. I haven't made a team yet today. Now, I did for the league that is set up for yesterday already make one yesterday. Should we make another?
Why not?
All right, let's do it. Let's make another. Is there a practice league? There's not. There's a 5-cent league. That's good enough. I'm not a big spender. Let's do that. So tomorrow we do have 2 matches. There is Titan versus Penta, and then Na'Vi versus Flipside. Yesterday I picked up 3 Na'Vi players, 2 Flipside players, 3 Titan players, and 0 Penta players. I just don't think Penta has a good chance in that game. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but let's hear your picks, Vendetta. Who would you take off Titan?
Off of Titan, I think, even though he's not been the same player we kind of expect him to be, I think Kenya's is still a pretty safe choice if you want to take anyone from Titan.
See, in my team, I actually went for the lower level guys on Titan so I could max out on Na'Vi because he's expensive, but we'll go with him.
Okay, that's actually
no, let's go with it. Let's see what we can come up with. Let's make a different team than I did. I'm going to take Guardian right away. That one's obvious. Let's go to Flipside. Who would you take off that? Remember, they're playing a best of 2 against Na'Vi.
Yeah, but I mean, can you go with anyone else but Simple?
That's a pretty simple decision.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of have to go with Simple if you're picking anyone from Flipside.
Well, that's going to make it now just about half our budget shot with only 3 players picked up. So I'm going to go... I'm going to go back. See, the thing is with Flipside, based on the way they've been playing, they're really expensive right now. So Bondic was my other choice yesterday. I did actually take Simple, but I'm going to go back to Titan. I think Apex is decent value. I think he's due for a game soon. So him at 913, I'm going to pick him up right away. That leaves us pretty much dead even on our budget. Back to Na'Vi, again, also expensive. Edward would be a decent choice, but look at the price of him, 1506. And there's really no one in all these teams aside from, actually not even Penta, that are under 3 or 4 digits. So it becomes really tough to max out this this team. So I'm going to go Zeus because he's cheap. Flipside, no, I'm going to skip that for a second. We'll come back to that in a minute, but let's go with Maniac or Existence.
Let's go with Existence, just because I like
he's
him. I like
993, so this is good. So we have 23 left over for the last 2 players. I don't know if you agree. I think I'm going to skip Penta in this case. I just don't think that they're going to vote up that well. Yeah, I mean, maybe they surprise us and then we lose the league based on that, but that's part of the gamble, right? That's part of the fun of playing fantasy esports.
Yeah, because we were doing, I think I did that game with Nero because you were out and about traveling. But we were doing Mousesports versus Penta, and we were just certain that, Mousesports would take that 2-0. Penta didn't have a single chance, going into the first map, Dust 2, that's Mousesports' pick, and they just get stomped by Penta. Like, things happen from time to time.
And I'm also going to take Guardian as our shot caller. So that's going to be done. Simple. We'll join in. 5 cents spent. If you want to play, simply click the link down below the Twitch window below the channel, and it just will link you straight through. Or use the promo code CounterPit. They'll match your first deposit up to $1,000. It's pretty fun. There's lots of stuff going on during the Vulcan show each week. You can also ask questions to the guests and the hosts, myself and Mo. There's lots of cool things. There's a live chat. You can see what's going on in the live bar. It'll show you all the games. You just toggle through and pick what you want to watch. This may be us that shows up. Actually, it's not. It's Dota that shows up right now. So that's that. But we'll get ready and jump over to take a peek at the maps. It's going to be Dust 2 picked up by Na'Vi and Overpass picked up by Kinguin.
And if I'm Na'Vi, I'm liking this map pool. I'm actually surprised that Kinguin wanted to go into Overpass versus Na'Vi because they've shown pretty solid form on that map. But it's going to be fun to see. Obviously, Kinguin do have a bit of a mixed-up lineup. They're playing with Dennis now instead of Whitlam, so that could be a confidence boost, I guess, going into a map for them. I think definitely Dennis is a player that could make a severe impact on a team, even with that short amount of time. So it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, and this is his return, so to speak. He hasn't actually been away that long when you actually look at some players that haven't been playing for a bit, but it's his return. There's a lot of hype around it. I don't know. What do you think your chances of him sticking with this lineup are if they actually keep him in, or just go with this trial base?
Yeah, I mean, Dennis is definitely good enough to be in the team. If people recall back to the LGP days when he was playing with Olaf and Michael for that matter, he was, probably together with Olaf, the best player on that team. So I think it's definitely worth having around, and I don't see how a player like Dennis could necessarily fail a trial period in a team like this, because he has a history of being an in-game leader, which is something Kinguin are going to need now that they've swapped out their previous one. So I don't really see how this could be a bad match for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how Dennis fits into this complexion. Obviously, that's Skoiten as their in-game leader, or Hoyten, as you were saying it. And, I mean, there's still some work to be done on this Kinguin roster. I think it's interesting they picked up Overpass to go against Na'Vi, because Na'Vi are such a good Overpass team, but yet they feel the confidence on it that it slipped through. I'd love to see the rest of the video. Unfortunately, we don't get that information on the overlay, but it'd be interesting to see how it ended up with Overpass left and the order of the bans that came in. So, I mean, Kinguin kind of have that element of surprise where they're still new. No one really knows how all their map pool is going to play out, but, I mean, one thing's for certain, that Overpass and Na'Vi are a pretty strong mix.
Yeah, that was my thought.
Pretty exactly. Stiff drink, bartender.
But I guess Dust 2, it isn't the worst map that Kinguin could go into, though, so having that being Na'Vi's map pick, it's not the worst thing in the world, I'd imagine, because Dust 2 is a map where a lot of random stuff can happen, and you can you can make a lot of stuff happen just by individual performances, and Kinguin definitely are a team that can rely heavily on individual performances. They have the players to do so.
Well, we just saw the knife go the way of Kinguin. We'll see if they swap it, or if they stay. Probably going to stay there on CT's side, so it wouldn't surprise me at all. Dust 2, a little bit less important perhaps than side. I'd say Overpass is going to be the knife that matters more, but either way we're going to start, and I think, yeah, they're going to call stay. Scream calls it. Scream screams it. Can we just do puns? Can we just do puns the entire game?
Like raiding on Na'Vi's parade.
Well, that's what they want to do.
Yeah. Fox being a sly fox, obviously. I'm not really sure what kind of puns we can make out of Dennis, though. That's going to be a tough one. Same with the thing with Michael.
And interestingly, this is one of the first games online I've seen in a while that Starix is not in the server.
Yeah, he's normally there in that coach slot. I guess Na'Vi feels pretty confident going into this without him. Or he's just unable to, tune in. To attend,
yeah. And pretty interesting setup that they actually had a B-spawn rush, but they slowed it down based on that one smoke that came out, so they sit stationary, and Fox, who pushes up Catwalk's going to catch them rotating out of lower dark. So that does give the man advantage right now to the way of Kinguin. Smokes out at long, though, so Rain had to be aware that they might have a position or player out toward pit. He checks it with a bit of a pre-fire and then falls back down towards CT as the calls have been made that they are out through the mid doors, and Michael is the first one to spot them. He'll put an 8 out. That does good damage over to his left side, and it's Edward that finishes him off as he takes the bullet from the USP. Well done by Kinguin. Good hold by them.
Very solid. And the aggression that's put on by Scream, obviously at the beginning of the round, pulls so much focus towards mid, because going up against an aim duel with Scream is a bit of a terrifying proposition. So that buys a lot of time for Fox to actually get that entry frag from, or that opening frag from Catwalk. So it's just a really solid job from Kinguin.
Dust 2 was a bit of a struggle, if you remember, for Na'Vi at SLTV on LAN. More of a struggle than we anticipated for a team that's normally good on it. It was a struggle for Envy against G-Play as well, but then Envy ended up taking them down on the map.
Yeah, right now, actually force by coming out from Na'Vi's end. Not that many needs to work with, but solid pistols to work off of. But Kinguin do have a pretty okay setup here. Dennis is already moving his way towards that A bomb site to help out Fox when Na'Vi finally commits towards Catwalk here. So this should be a fairly easy cleanup for Kinguin.
Guardian looking for the entry with that deal. He's now going to flash around the corner. That will blind too. And Fox does manage to pick up C's as he came up the ramp. Bomb gets dropped though as Flamey goes for the, Guardian goes for the recovery. It was Flamey, meanwhile, that picked up the kill in exchange, so trades it back to a 4-4. And Bomb down. This is a bit of a victory right now for Na'Vi. And what a shot by Edward as he just picks off the top of the scalp of Rain as he tries to cross back over and get in better position for the defuse. Meanwhile, Fox does take down Guardian. Michael has made his presence known coming up from CT, and Flamey's going to get pushed all the way back down Catwalk. Now, very low HP for both Michael and Fox, so this is still winnable, and it's planted for him, and he's going to do it. Tech 9, it's an eco already.
Yeah, that's pretty devastating for Kinguin, and that round becomes entirely possible because Flamey has the fortune of actually taking down Dennis. The guy is rotating in from spawn while he was splashed with that Tech 9. And that kind of destroyed the entire hold from Kinguin, because if Dennis is there, he can constantly poke at people and allow the guys at long to not have to fall back.
The shots do come out. Fox getting aggressive. They'll start it off again. So the pistol's leading the charge. It's Rain to pick up the second kill on Edward. Double aggressive 3-stack at long. Now it comes toward B. The remaining players of Na'Vi trying to make some space, and they won't do it against Scream, but Flamey does drop him down on the trade. The Aquamarine strat track. AK trying to get the shots, and they realize now that Michaelele is trying to jump up over the top and use that scout mechanic to his advantage. But he'll fall back and wait for the rotations to come over. Rain the first to get there.
This is an extremely hard position for Na'Vi to be in. I don't see any way they can actually get the bomb down unless Kinguin severely messes up stuff.
And Rain's going to pick up Flamey. So again, it's going to be an eco to win the round as he pushes through, and Guardian has nowhere to hide. Thank you very much for the AK-47s. They'll keep the scout that they had, and then it's the P90 for Fox, but this has definitely turned everything on its head already. This is an excellent start, or at least shaping up to be an excellent start for a series.
Yeah, it was very solid, and Fox and Rain there out on long, doing an immense amount of work. The fact that they actually get that second frag as well is just massive. Na'Vi would be okay with just losing that one guy, and they could probably hold Kinguin off from picking up that AK, but Rain hitting that second shot just breaks down everything Na'Vi tried to do.
When I say excellent start, it's definitely been sloppy gameplay, but it's entertaining. And there's a nice shot. Michaelele stares at the top of the headshot box, and Guardian, the jack at the box expired a little bit too soon. And the man at the fair who hits the gopher head is going to pick up his prize of a kill, and that gives the man advantage right now to Kinguin.
And somewhat surprisingly from Na'Vi is the fact that they actually decided to force up once again. Obviously, they know that the economy on Kinguin's side is pretty shaky, but it's a pretty poor buy, and it's pretty tough to actually win these types of rounds.
Scout on
a map like this too.
Scout in return, though, did actually catch Michaelele, put him down to 29, and Zeus is going to enter from Catwalk. The AK does take down Dennis. So things are equalizing back to 4 versus 4, and the HP advantage actually does favor Na'Vi right now, despite that they've only got a pistol and no armor on Flamey. And sees through the box, he takes down Michaelele. That 29 HP, not enough to sustain the penetration of the bullet. And therefore, Zeus now has to find Rain. And Edward actually finds Fox. Perfect shot again. That's the second 1D we've seen from him on the A site. And again, Na'Vi are going to put this bomb down. It's all Scream remaining. And he's going to hold on to this precious AK. So 1, 2, 3, 4, back and forth as quickly as that. We're tied on 2. Someone's got to break the deadlock here.
This has just been a really weird start to start things off. And sees it's going to find Scream here. And down he goes. So, yeah, just very much back and forth at the start of this. I don't really know how Kinguin are having this much of a struggle holding off Na'Vi, because they even got the first frag of the round there. But they seem to have absolutely no control of what's going on Catwalks. That's the second time Na'Vi have gone through short and actually just cleared out the entire site, to the point where the two members holding long for Kinguin just have to give up the entire thing and don't get any opportunity to actually retake the site.
And we actually had to go for a restart of the round. I'm not 100% sure why, but there was a pause called immediately when that round started from Na'Vi's perspective. And the E-bot's gone for a full restart, and I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen here, because the admins are going to have to nurse this back to 2 versus 2, and the money's going to have to be reset at the start of that round.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too much of a problem, though, because not really anything of value that happened.
Okay, so the E-bot is recording still. It was a stop call, not a pause call, so when they resume, it should go immediately back into that round.
Oh, Guardian's internet, apparently. Yeah.
There we go. I haven't seen Guardian spike yet, still sitting on 26 ping from our perspective, but according to them, he's absent, and there he goes. He drops from the server, and that's why. And they got that actually called just after the freeze time, but they called the stop, which would reset it. I don't think that'll be frowned upon, because they were hardly at a spawn.
Yeah, I don't think Kinguin are going to be miffed about that, whatsoever. They're just happy to start things over again once Guardian comes back. And yeah, because they used the stop command, because obviously pause didn't work since they were out of freeze time, they're going to have to reload everything. But hopefully Guardian will be back soon.
Yeah, but this isn't hard to do. With E-bot still recording, that's the main thing. There wasn't a hiccup, so they'll be able to nurse this. Camilla is inside the server, our lovely admin, and he'll take care of everything. But what a start. Back and forth, 2 rounds apiece, and nobody's got 2 in a row just yet. It's been a little bit sloppy, but it's been entertaining, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's fun to see things going back and forth, absolutely. But I'm kind of worried for Kinguin on their end, given their catwalk holds for right now. I mean, obviously in the pistol round with the aggression from Fox, that worked out nicely for them. But ever since then, whenever Na'Vi have tried to go short, obviously small sample pool, but now they've just had their way towards short.
And this is kind of one of the things that the meta has gone back. I mean, a year ago, not even a year ago, you could even go back 6 months ago, and it was all mid to Bs, all mid to Bs. But because of that mid to B, there's a lot more attention from the CT rotation player to help support the players and go more to a 2-1-2. That loosens up Catwalk and makes it more viable. I remember that 69 overtime game at CCS. It was all Catwalk between TSM, between Envy and NIP in that game. And that was sort of the eye-opener to me, that more and more teams are taking advantage of that rotation position. That puts a lot of pressure on the support player. Zipnix is one of the players who does it the best, in my opinion. Happy's another one that comes to mind, just his ability to get on top of the box and CT spawn. But it's definitely a trend that's been recurring lately. So I'm wondering now if the meta is going to shift, so where teams are running that 3-stack long to pull a player back, go for even more quick boosts on Catwalk, try and control it early on and still get vision toward middle, rather than trying to peek middle through the doors and giving up Catwalk.
Yeah, and well, you can definitely see by how Kinguin are setting up each and every round here. They're setting up in that standard 2-1-2, as you mentioned, and that's been giving up too much cat control. And a team that you talked about, briefly, or you mentioned Sipnix, TSM, they're one of the teams on Dust 2 that have severe issues with the fact that with that 2-1-2 setup, and normally they're a team that plays extremely passive on pretty much every map, they struggle heavily with holding off Catwalk. So whenever they play a team that realizes that and they continue to put the pressure on Catwalk, they struggle mightily. And that's something they've said, at events as well, that this is something we need to work on, because what we're doing as of right now, it's not really working out. So I wouldn't be too surprised, as you've mentioned, we've gone from seeing B-splits all day to now seeing heavy Catwalk pressure. I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw, the CT side of Dust 2 being changed up quite a bit in the upcoming months.
Yeah, I mean, and TSM, interestingly, they go to that 2-on-2, but they often do it late. It depends on what the call is and what spawns they have, because a lot of teams are still running that 3 pressure toward long and then falling 1 back toward the A site or even toward car if they're going to leave. So in their case, it's usually Cage and B plays toward car with the op. Kerrigan gets inside pit, and then Zipnix heads down towards CT. And the pressure for him is that even if he's in CT or gets stuck in CT, if a player drops, he has to win that duel, because Cage and B then gets overwhelmed. So, I mean, it's a fine line right now. It's almost like we're going back to 1.6 style Dust, where someone's designated to Catwalk every single round, even though it's a very different game.
Yeah, and I actually wouldn't be too surprised if we saw a lot more aggression coming out from most CT sides. Not necessarily only towards Catwalk, but actually on B as well, basically trying to get map control instead of playing so passively and simply reactively to whatever the Ts are doing, because Dust 2 is probably one of the maps where the T side actually gets the most freedom out of the current maps we have in the map pool. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw that change, actually, because the setup you mentioned that TSM run with Cajun on that off by cars towards allowing Sipnix and spawn, that relies so heavily on those 2 players actually getting frags the second they see players coming up towards short or dropping down in spawn. And if they don't do that, the round is kind of over, or you're basically hoping for a miracle retake for you to actually grab that round. And I mean, in the long run, you kind of want to bank on the safest possible play, which doesn't really allow you to hit insane shots round after round after round. You kind of want to bank on things that allows you.
Isn't that one of the weird things in Counter-Strike, that you see these highlight plays and you go, holy shit, like if you could do that every round, that's amazing. But really what it is, it's a recovery. Like if you're making those insane plays, you're putting yourself in a position where you have to hit those shots. It's probably because there was a mistake made before that. And it's one of the things that everyone often overlooks.
Most of the time, highlight clips are just errors from one of the 2 sides that have been made, like pretty severe errors. But nobody's going to really, take that into play, because you look at the highlight and you're entertained by it, right?
Exactly, it has to happen that way. Perfect Counter-Strike, perfect any sport is boring. Perfect hockey is all defensive to neutral. Yeah, it's all neutral zone play with great defensive breakouts that get shut down by the opposite defense. Until you see one crazy big offensive scoring chance, and usually it's because a defenseman or a forward didn't backcheck correctly, and everyone goes, "Wow, that was amazing offense." What was actually a mistake in the defense that allowed that. I mean, same with soccer. Perfect soccer is usually like constant passing in the midfield that never gets near the nets. It's boring. It's mistakes that make things interesting.
Yeah, look at Barcelona, basically having like 900,000 passes just, amongst your midfielders for about 45 minutes. And then you have one perfect set move or set attack, right? And that scores you a goal. That type of thing. Like, there's not a lot of action going on constantly, but you have that one magical moment, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, we're kind of reading into a lot. And like Barcelona, for example, yeah, it's their job to exploit the defense and force those mistakes.
Absolutely.
And that's no different here in Counter-Strike. You're still trying to force those mistakes. That's why you're using set nades in the way you are. You're trying to bait someone out or force them out of position, using a Molotov to clear an area so that he gets caught in no man's land. I mean, it's about forcing those issues as well. And it's not all just one person making a mistake on their own. It's usually instigated by something. But again, I mean, when you see those individual plays that everyone goes, my God, that was incredible. Well, either he's recovering for a teammate who's given up a position and he had to do that, or someone made a mistake and walked out into the open and gave him a shot he never should have had in the first place. So it's just an interesting aspect. we just ruined Counter-Strike. Everyone watching is like, oh, so it's really just okay. There's no skill here.
Mistakes. Yeah, it's like everybody just messing up completely every single time. No, but obviously, that's the thing about pretty much every entertaining thing. Like, mistakes create wonderful moments. That's kind of how it is.
Guardian's not hurrying. I'm not okay with this. And we've been paused for close to 4 minutes. I'm just seeing Starks is still not in that coaching position. Otherwise, they could resume with him in place. But so far, everyone's being patient. No complaints from Kinguin. We'll see how this is going to play out. Camilla's been quiet as well. I haven't seen much show up. Okay, so Camilla says you want me to get backup. A sad face from Scream. Yeah, we will get backup, says Seized. Okay, so they have agreed to go for that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who they actually bring in. I mean, if Starks is not around, because I would assume that Starks would be on the server if he was around.
So I'm interested to see who's going to be, like you say, Starks, if he was around, would likely jump in. And I'm not sure who they can get for a sub in this because I guess I know Hellraisers is in the league, Flipside's in the league. Technically, you couldn't really use a player that's rostered to another team, so a CIS player who's not taken. I wonder if they could use Nico against the team that he subbed for here. Although he's not directly CIS, but
no, but still, that would be pretty hilarious. I know. I guess they could go with Flipside have used Cyber Focus a lot of the time.
That's true. Yep,
they could go with Cyber
Focus. You know, I was gonna make a troll thread. You remember when everyone thought Cyber Focus was really just simple playing as the Smurf?
Yeah.
I was gonna make a joke during SLTV that interesting. I haven't seen Cyber Focus around here anywhere. Like I was hoping I'd at least see someone with like Cyber Focus jersey or something. Even if it was really simple, they like just sent us a dummy and had some guy walk through and was like, "Yeah, I'm Cyber Focus," and everyone would be like, "Oh, he does exist." But I didn't see him anywhere.
It's just a figment of your imagination.
That's it. We just created a monster.
Maybe Hooch could step in.
Hooch actually, that would actually be a really smart choice. That's right.
Hooch hasn't played for Flipside, right?
He hasn't played for anyone in this league.
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
He hasn't played for anyone in this league, so he's available as a stand-in. Technically speaking, even if they're stand-ins, they're not committed. So I think they have to play like 2. I don't know what the rule said. It's interesting because I reviewed.
And then you're locked to
exactly.
the roster?
I think it's 2. I reviewed the rule set at the start of the season with this, and I think it was 2. It may have even been 3. So even if he has done a stand-in, which he hasn't yet, he could actually still stand in for someone else. But once he's played 2 games, he's locked to the second team that he would have rang for. So if he already rang once and then rang now for Na'Vi, he would be locked to Na'Vi for the rest of the season. So
not a bad team to be locked to, though. Let's be honest.
No, not at all. I don't know if it was you that I had this discussion with one of these times we had a pause like this, where there should be like a pool of 6th players.
Oh, yeah, I think we did. And actually, it was Na'Vi having it was Na'Vi versus VP, I think, when on Cobble, when they were having like the back authentication error thingy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and we were just saying, like, if there was a pool that they could pick from, and then after they've played a certain amount of games, then they're out of that pool. At least there's these current players that are available, and everyone can pick from them. So, like let's say, we have the Hooch, we have the Cyber Focus, we have the Nico. They're available to all teams to ring for. That way, if this situation occurs, they can instantly jump into the game. But once they've played a certain amount, then they're out of that pool, and they're on whatever team they last rang for. I think leagues could do that. And it doesn't even have to be a 6th from like if they have a designated 6th from Na'Vi. It doesn't need to be that. Just find these free open players that are like Cadian, for example. He would be another one that would be great in a pool like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have to consider the fact that the team who's losing a player obviously wants someone who actually speaks the same language. That's a pretty big bonus to have when you're getting a stand-in. So I mean, you can imagine if you just plop, for instance, Cadian into Na'Vi right now, like what would happen? It would just be complete chaos. But
hand signals, didn't they add those to CS:GO?
Oh, radio commands.
I thought that they totally added. Well, radio commands still have a language barrier. I thought Valve for equal rights added hand signals.
But I mean, you know, you know the radio commands if you've played CS enough, right? You would know the.
Yes, I know them.
Yeah, because actually, there's a deaf Danish player called Tricon who actually communicates with this team entirely by like binds and radio commands, and he's actually like legit good at the game.
Yeah, I've had situations where someone's microphone broke and they use binds, and you just keep them really simple. You just say like B A bomb spotted, guy here, or like rotate. Like just really like one word. So like if he calls for a rotation, just hit the rotate bind, and then it's like, okay, someone has to go help him. Or if someone's, and then the other way you can do it is, let's say you die, I'm the player without a microphone or can't speak the language, you spec me and call for me. I mean, that's the obvious one.
Yeah, that too. Apparently, we have a stand-in inbound, according to C's. At least it said. Someone is incoming.
There it is. Angel's going to be the one that comes in. So it's a Hellraisers player. Now, this is one of the interesting things we talked about because Hellraisers are in this league. They're in the other group, though, mind you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure where the rules play on that. I mean, look, at this point in time, as long as both teams agree, who cares? Let's just get the game rolling. Yeah.
I'm actually totally with that. If both teams can come to an agreement with it, it doesn't really matter. But obviously, for Navi, this is a bit of a downgrade. Hey. Nothing against Angel, but, you know, losing Garden is kind of a big blow to your team.
It's a huge blow, especially on Dust 2, where his op is massive. And again, on Overpass, if he doesn't get back by then. But you know what the interesting thing is? I said in the pregame, I said needs a Guardian Angel named Edward. So my dream is all coming true right now.
The premonitions.
Man, I nailed it. I'm a goddamn prophet, Vendetta.
And, you know, I mean, just to touch on the game, the fact that we had a bit of a game of chicken where everybody was force buying after losing a round. Kinguin actually just decided it seems to not force up. At least they didn't buy once they loaded up the first time around and they both had money.
I think what happened is they didn't expect it to go live instantly, so they all just ran out of spawn and then realized, oh, it is live. So they've called a stop. They'll call a reset, and I imagine the buy will be corrected this time.
But I'm wondering, is Angel going to be able to get the money that Guardian had?
They should be able. So that takes a little bit more time because, yes, but you have to basically copy the ebot file from one player to the other and delete the previous file so that it doesn't record 6 players, which is a bit complicated. But I mean, it's easy to do. It just takes time, and you actually have to go through. Like that would take us another 2 minutes potentially to do. So whether or not they do that, excuse me, it's hard to say.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Kinguin decides to force buy, though, once they've actually realized that the game is live again. They don't really have that much money, but I guess both Fox and Michaelella could buy a Soul Scout for themselves. It doesn't seem like they're going for it, though. It's just Fox had picked up a P250 and a smoke twice before when we reloaded.
Well, this time should be it.
Yeah,
it's working,
Fox picks up a smoke again.
And Angel's going to get the 2800, so they have done this correctly. He's also, so they loaded in the file because he has the 3 deaths that Guardian had as well.
Guardian messing up Angel's TV stats already.
Poor Angel. Gets his wings clipped before he can even take off.
Yeah. So yeah, Kinguin do decide to not force buy here, so they just kind of want to get some control over their economy. But they are doing a stack towards the B bomb site.
And they smoked it up immediately right away, so no one could spot that cross. Now they're in position. It's Flamey that has to wait for this. He spots the first nade coming through and falls back accordingly. But Edward, meanwhile, he's still peeking out toward long A. There's a bit of activity over there. The one player remaining on the CT side, it's going to be Michaelella, who's sitting on the ramp, heading now towards CT, but Hellraisers, or rather, as I get confused by Angel's overlay, Navi, rather, excuse me, have yet to get that information. Now they're going to have it. 3 players push out. Flamey will make that call. He does at least pick up the first, and now Scream will look for the cross back over, but Navi's acted accordingly. Bomb's already going to be on the A site, and they just have to make sure they don't get picked off in spades here, and too many players drop the weapons against the pistols that are up, as Rain, as we can see, already has an AK. Look at Edward. He just waited inside mid. Pops out 1, 2, tries to switch to the Deagle to get the third and does so. Sees to collect it. Well composed by Edward.
Yeah, so stack from Kinguin doesn't really do anything at all. Flamey dies, sure, but that's not too big of a loss for Navi. And I'm actually surprised that we didn't see a stack towards the A bomb site just because Navi have had success going up short, and they did that once again. Obviously, it's easier to get versus an eco, but I mean, I think that would have been an okay read for Kinguin to go or base things off of and just stack up on that A bomb site. In the end, not that impactful. 2 ops actually coming out from Kinguin.
Good entry by Flamey to catch Michael. Fox now, like you said, 2 ops. Uses his on Edward. It's going to be successful. Scream's going to try and recover Michael and does so. Drops the M4 in front of him. It's still in a recoverable spot, and that's exactly what he's going to do. First shot with the op, second with the M4, and now he's got positional advantage, but a low HP as he falls back inside the site. Meanwhile, Zeus picks up Rain. But the man advantage goes the way of Kinguin. Bomb's still up in the hands of Zeus. He's at middle right now, and the rotation from Angel is coming back toward him, so they can group up and potentially try and exploit that difference inside mid, that one-man difference without the rotation, because it is a 2-stack on A, and Angel's going to be the one using the scout, to try and find the angle on any player that leaves it available, and so far no one's going to do that, so they'll split and go through tunnels and try and take B with a 1-1 push, but Zeus needs to be slow. He needs to be careful. He's there early, but still finds Scream, and that's going to give them the B site.
Yeah, all Angel has to do now is not get picked up in the cross.
When he gets across.
So that's, yeah, easy ball point for Navi, and this is actually pretty tough retake for Kinguin. No nades or NAG on Dennis, and that's pretty much it.
And that bomb going back. They get it there late, but it's down. It leaves the rotations a little bit closer, and we haven't seen a whole lot from Dennis yet. Now's his time to shine. Speaking of shine, some bright incandescence in front of them as the flames slowly extinguish themselves, but Zeus is in the back of the site. They also have Angel up close, and Angel's found one. He trades it, and Zeus pops out, and Dennis, he could only get the first, not the second.
Yeah, so pretty good salvage of a kind of broken run for Navi. Kind of lucky of them to actually have Zeus around with the bomb outside of long, because obviously with Kinguin picking up those frags, having those 3 men down, they obviously thought it was going to be a committed B push from Navi, but Zeus being outside of long, managing to pick up Rain, mess up everything for Kinguin.
Edward's going to get pushed aggressively right now. Fox, the first to find out the AK is more powerful than his P250, something he surely knew, but still had the courage to try and take the fight, as Zeus will find Rain in return. And now they've got Dennis trapped inside the pit. Zeus will get that kill as well, and there's only 2 players just as quickly as that remaining for Kinguin. Very low HP for both Zeus and Edward, but they're still alive. That's the important part. And Zeus with only the MP7, not as big as if the AK gets lost on Edward. Flamey does pick up Michael, and there it is. That MP7's dropped. Sees, realizes it's not worth picking up, and they'll keep all the rifles.
Yeah, so once again, a pretty okay eco from, or pretty good eco from Navi. Not losing that much, but again, Kinguin are pretty much only interested in getting through those final buy rounds. And now they're opting to only go with one op.
And Angel's trying to go for the pick. Now, Guardian, that's one of his spots that he's extremely good at picking. I would say actually the most consistent in the game in that spot, so.
It's pretty solid at it. And you can already see that Kinguin has changed things up as action starts happening at B here, just Scream, doing Scream things.
Does Scream things until Edward comes back at him. 10 HP left for Edward. And he had the AK in that exchange, so the M4 did a hefty amount of work from Scream's perspective. Angel now swaps back over. Grabs an AK as they want to try and enter into the site, leaves that op behind, knowing that its angle was only relative, and taking down Catwalk. Nade goes through. Dennis will dodge that as he falls off window, but they're in good position to go for a quick retake as the bomb is going to have to get planted here eventually, and Edward's the one that's going to try and put this in position. Only 10 HP. That nade does a little bit more damage to Dennis, though. He's down to 68, and Edward has to sit underneath the window, hope that Angel will spot for him, and still has to be aware that there could be a potential flank coming from the tunnels. In fact, there is, as it's Fox that's head back over. Dennis on the entry finds the first. He'll drop down, but he's done the job of distracting Angel, and Rain collects the kill.
Yeah, and you can already see that Kinguin would have made changes to their CT setup. This time around, they left Fox all by himself with that off towards long and had 2 people push rather aggressively towards, or out catwalking, get control over mid, and that's how they actually picked up the rotation in lower tunnels. So Kinguin very aware of the fact that they struggled to hold catwalk earlier when they were playing defensively, and now are just making adaptations to account for that.
Go for the grenade pop to cross over. A little bit late, though, for the second man, but no one peeking at this time in return, as Angel's taking the op into a different perspective. He does actually come back late for a shot, but no one's there.
And again, Kinguin opting to play 2 people on short, but Navi's super quick in, out into mid here. This is going to be a B split. This is going to be super tough to hold for Kinguin.
That flash through the door from Flamey's perspective. No one in mid. They're already to the window, but they need to hurry up now because the player is coming around behind them. It's Rain, but he only manages to pick up one. Scream stays true inside the site, though, and turns back, keeps his composure, and picks up Angel. And again, this guy's accuracy. Another headshot on Flamey, and this shuts down everything. It's left to Zeus, and call it Scream. That was beautiful for him to hold the site from both angles.
Yeah, and again, we're talking about, potential highlights that, look amazing, but it's the result of a mistake. I think that was just Na'Vi messing things up. They were so slow to actually get in on that B bomb site. Actually, they never really got in on the B bomb site at all. They got out into mid. They had the, caught Kinguin off guard. The rotation was nowhere near. It was Scream and Michael all by themselves at B, and that should have been an easy round for Na'Vi, or at least an easy B take for them. And they could have played the favorable after plant from that position, but they were just so slow, just hanging with 3 people around that window area without actually committing into the bomb site.
Angel works catwalk, sees just peeking the doors to make sure no one's going to peek out aggressively in return. And this time there's still 2 players at long. They need to bring one back quickly. It's going to be Rain that starts to rotate. Actually, I take that back. It's going to be Dennis that starts to rotate back to try and hold the off angle from Carr. As Angel pops out through the smoke, he immediately gets flashed, but he uses it to his advantage. Misthrown Molotov coming from CT spawn. That drops an elevator. In fact, if anything, it's a hindrance to the CTs, who are now falling off and trying to retake middle because they've lost their chance to surprise them by quickly getting onto the A site, and that means Flamey's going to have the pressure on him. And Scream makes no mistake. The accuracy of him is just far too superior. Edward at least gets Fox back, and now it's going to be seized to pick up Michael Lele. Dennis is still lurking, though, into the smoke as he comes late from long. Has the chance to take down Zeus, makes no mistake. And the rest of them will be collected. It's all on seized. And he's nowhere to be found. He's down toward long, and the bomb's not planted for him, so he's pretty much going to have to concede the round.
That was, again, as soon as Kinguin opts to go with a different setup than having 2 people on cat, now we instantly take advantage of it. I still think they could have played that round a tiny bit better, but obviously that was just kind of a lucky coincidence for Kinguin. The fact that Edward picks up one guy in mid, and then C's picks up another, but none of them actually spot the last guy. I think it was Michael, who was the 3rd guy in mid there. They never spotted him, so he was able to pick up that frag on Edward on catwalk, which kind of opened up everything for them.
Scream looks for the shot through the smoke. Actually, a little bit of damage done to his teammate, not a whole lot. Michael Lele got tagged up by that last bullet.
And Na'Vi are looking to take long control here, it seems like, with the way Edward and Cease are setting up. So this might just be, again, catwalk pressure and the eventual split from long here onto A. Okay, they're actually falling back, so this is going to be heavy pressure on long. And Rain's all alone.
Rain is alone. They've got a player at cart. In that game changer spot, as Angel now will be the solo lurk on the catwalk. Late presence in the bomb carrier. That's Zeus. And here comes the entry, and Rain, who tries to play the unorthodox angle on the pillars, or rather on the bricks, excuse me, the cinder blocks, gets caught off right away, but there's the response. Fox slides out from Carr, gets the op shot, and then falls back towards CT, but Angel's already around the corner, and Zeus is there to support. Zeus picks up 2. Remember, he has the bomb, so it's important he doesn't drop in that situation, as there's no one there to pick it up quickly. And that would allow the rotation from Scream to get a lot closer to the site. Instead, it's already planted, and Scream has to go for a miraculous save in a 1 versus 3. He's up in a close position, does have a kit to work with, no nades though, no utilities, but he's got the accuracy up his sleeve, and he's going to take down Edward. That second shot was absolutely perfect, and now he just has to find Zeus, and he knows Zeus was the bomb planter, so process of elimination, his angle has to still be on platform, and Scream will check every angle he's got the time to work with, doesn't hit the first attempt on the headshot, switches to the USP, and Zeus, who has to come out flying right now, is going to get taken down, and does he have time with the kit? I'm not sure he does. He does. Scream, what a play.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. Holy hell. Yeah, like that's actually one of the few highlights, where there's actually no mistakes made from Na'Vi, or no like major mistakes made from Na'Vi. That second shot onto Edward and Pitt was just insane, because that was just instantly on his head right after that first kill. That was a lifesaver from Kinguin, or for Kinguin.
His accuracy is the one you would want left in that situation. I mean, like you said, that shot on Edward was nuts.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, it's not the flashy, one tap with an AK or something, but holy hell. It's even harder when you have a Colt, so, all the more credit to him. And this is pretty cool from Kinguin. I mean, they're obviously in a bit of a weird situation, but they've given up short completely, but they're actually pushing pretty aggressively on long, but Na'Vi once again, just kind of roaming up short, and they're going to get a free plant here. Is it surprisingly passive from Kinguin as well? They're like not reacting at all until that bomb goes down.
Considering they've got this double op setup, and no one was able to hit the shot toward mid. They didn't even have an op that was ready to play at car. Dennis was forced to fall all the way back down. Fox now will try and come back up and go for this late retake, but this is very late, and it might just be worth it to try and save the guns. They're not. They're committing. Michaelele's already on the CT ramp. He's going to find Flamey. Edward responds, but Michaelele picks up a second. And Scream, who finds Edward, makes this a bit more probable for them as Zeus now finds himself again as the last one remaining, but this time he has the advantage. Goes for the diffuser. They almost line up for him, but Rain gets the kill. Not going to happen, though. This time the bomb will detonate. They're going to pick up the round, so Na'Vi, it's a little bit late from the retake, and unfortunately, a lot of weapons lost. Rain manages to save at least one op. That's important.
Yeah, that's a bit of a saving grace, but still, again, that reaction from King was just way too late. Because they had a pretty much perfect retake of that bomb site when they finally committed to it. So you couldn't ask really that much more from them in the actual retake, but they were just so slow to react to it, and Na'Vi got the easiest plan out of the lives.
Trying to fire through the smoke, make sure he can push everyone off the angles, and it is a 2-on-2 split. Very aggressive play right now from Fox with his pistol. Tries to get up behind the door, may catch one player off from Na'Vi, but no one's looking to push in that direction right now. In fact, the only player that was there has left. Although, as I say that, they're rotating Angel back over into that position, and it's going to be another catwalk push. He's going to push out Angel. Waiting all the while with the Galil will get the better of the exchange, so Fox goes down. No one to retake from Long. They have to do this from CT spawn. Long rotation from Rain, though, with the op. He might just look for exit kills as he gets toward T-spawn. Another shot from Zeus comes in. Bomb yet to get in position, but they will eventually get up there, and the last player remaining on Goose was Dennis. He's down. Scream, meanwhile, will take Edward and pick up a rifle. He may just want to hold on to this and, again, look for exits from his perspective as well. In fact, he's not even going to go for that. He wants to save right away.
Yeah, smart choice from Screen there. Rain already being tagged down as well by Angel Long. I think they're better off just, instead of trying to aggressively take exit frags, I think they're just better off hiding and trying to get the angles on them and the drop on the Na'Vi players hunting.
Let's see if they can hold on to both these here. Rain is the one that desperately needs this op, but Angel's been waiting in T-spawn the whole time. Zeus, meanwhile, does pick up Scream. And Rain manages to collect one. Jumps down to dark spot knowing the flank was on, but he's going to survive. So op sustained from the Na'Vi perspective.
Yeah, this is like a tad bit of miscommunication between Rain and Scream right there, because obviously Rain knew that he had someone on his tail, you know, dropping flashes behind him inside of Upper Dark, but Scream kind of just ignored that completely and was still left in a position where he was open in that slope area, so... Could have gotten away with 2 AKs there, but still an op is an okay save.
I brought this back a little bit as well because there was a time when it was 2-2 and then it was a 3-round spread from Na'Vi to build up a bit of a lead, but Kinguin have made it a little bit more interesting. You've made mention of the fact that their catwalk looked a little bit questionable. That's definitely been a point of contention. This time it's a little bit different. Hellraisers, they spread out for a default and look for a pick. And they've got an aggressive player toward middle in the form of Seized, but look at the amount of fire that's put out on him. His movement's going to be limited. He's just spamming desperately, hoping he'll catch one player through the door.
Na'Vi have been setting up pretty much the same way a lot of, well, most rounds, so there's not really a lot of information that Kinguin can actually gain from this. They can't really tell from the get-go if this is going to be a B-split or a catwalk push or anything like that, because Na'Vi are just doing the same thing over and over again before they decide to do a different execute. Looks like they're setting up for mid here, and Zeus is just going to act as a bit of a decoy.
And Dennis actually got off the boxes, but the smoke's gone at this point, so it won't make a difference, although it does allow C's to nail the headshot with the AK, and now the split will come in on to B. Michaelele was boosted up. We saw him beside the tunnels, but he's spotted as that flash blinds up both. And when Scream turns back around, Angel's already put himself in position to get an easy shot onto him. Fox makes a recovery play from Kinguin's perspective, but Zeus finds Rain rotating over. And Fox now realizes he's the only one left, and he's got the coveted rifle, the op in his hands, not able to connect the second shot, and now his position's given up. He's going to have to fight his way out of this if he even wants to save the gun. Whiff won't allow it.
That was a nice play from Na'Vi, though, because you can see that even though it's only Zeus who was moving towards that catwalk area, the second he started throwing nades out towards A, you can see Dennis getting drawn back from that position where he held mid, and moving up towards that A bomb site instead, and that gave the 3 Na'Vi members pushing out mid just enough time to catch him off guard. Now Kinguin going back to that aggressive catwalk setup. They're actually going to find Zeus with the bomb instantly.
Interesting that they threw away the op after the shot in an ungrabbable position. Because even though it's round 15 and wouldn't be able to save further, they don't want anyone to take a long rotation and have the off chance of giving them the weapon. Unfortunately, in the process, they lost Zeus. So they're a man down. And that gives Kinguin the potential to make this 8-7, split the half, which would be not a bad task at all on the CT side. As Flamey looks to try and take over Catwalk. Remember, this is Navi's map choice. We go to Overpass next, which you could call Navi's map choice in a weird way, because I think that they're one of the better teams on it, but Kinguin seem to think that they've got the upper hand. Angel takes down Fox on the entry. Now it's all left to poor old Rain on top of the CT ramp, and he's going to get dropped immediately. Flank's coming fast, though, from Catwalk, as the bomb's going to be planted safe spot from Seized. Doesn't want to allow the angle to get retaken. But the smoke comes out, that delays all 3, and this gives Na'Vi a really good chance to hold on to this. Angel, nice shot. Flamey picks up Michaelele and Dennis. He can't do anything but only select the 1. Kill distribution's pretty even on both sides. In fact, both of the subs. Dennis actually has only 5, and Angel, he actually picked up massively in that round, jumped up to 10 because he didn't have a whole lot before that started, but pretty even.
And, I mean, Angel even started at 0 and 3. So he's been doing pretty well for himself in this first half. But yeah, right now, the story of that first half was really just Na'Vi abusing Catwalk. Pretty much every single round, every single time they got around, that was towards Catwalk.
Angel tanks a few shots at mid, trying to get some one-taps with the USP, hope for a fortuitous opportunity.
Pretty aggressive stance from, well, both the 2 guys that long from Na'Vi, but also Angel is inside of mid, but he's going to back out. He's actually going back in now.
Nice shot from Dennis. That opens things up from Kinguin's perspective. But Flamey's still waiting behind the doorway. There's 1 to bait and 1 to kill. But Rain! What? How does Flamey miss that shot? Rain turns around and goes for the burst glock. Manages to get both. And now A is going to be completely open because both remaining players have to rotate back from B. That was a fail. That allows a big movement right now from Navi's perspective. Angel has to go. Edwards joining in with them, and the pistol round could go Team Kinguin's way. Race based on that play alone. Michaelele goes for the drop, spots up both retake players, and they'll just play in position to get the shots in. Angel gets the tap on Michaelele, but Scream slides back out, and with the Glock makes no mistake, and Dennis collects the round.
Yeah, and again, yeah, that round's just completely made by, well, it's not made by Rain, even though he picks up 2 frags, it's made by Flamey not being able to pick up Rain. Because, well, again, Kinguin, sure, they're going to have a man advantage even if Flamey picks up Rain after he gets that first kill, but, you know, kind of sets up the entire A site for Kinguin.
Rain spamming away this time. He picks up yet another kill at long. It's AK versus pistol, though, so not a huge win, but also took him down to 14 HP, as the spray wasn't entirely accurate. Meanwhile, though, Fox makes no mistake on Edward.
Yeah, Kinguin just holding really passively. They don't want to throw away, I guess, you know, what's presumed to be a one round already, like they did in the first half. So they're just taking their time, and yeah, no surprise. They're going to group up, go towards the space on the entire map where you benefit the most from having these kind of weapons.
And Seized does spot 1 on the stairwell. Unfortunately, that won't allow him to wrap around on a flank, so just by having that 1 lurk player on the T side, slows the movement of Na'Vi down, and Michaelele, he'll find Flamey. Just has to look for Angel and CT next. Success. Gonna get the hat trick. Not to be just yet. Seized will survive a little bit longer, but this bomb's gonna go down. Scream's gonna be the one that puts it in position. And Kinguin potentially, and inevitably, are gonna find themselves 1 round the difference. As Fox finds Seized, it's 9-8.
Yeah, so solid anti-eco coming up from Kinguin, just playing it as safe as possible. Once they've gotten a couple of picks, gather up, go towards long, because you know you have the superior weaponry, and just take it from there. Yeah, Na'Vi, not surprisingly, again, just going for that clean eco, because they want to get proper weaponry for that first buy round, and Michael is starting things off strong there.
Now they should go B on that call. In fact, they are, because he only spotted one cross. He got the kill with a scout, and the rest of them are stacked up on long. So this is a free sight on this eco round, or anti-eco rather, from Kinguin, and Dennis is going to pick up two as he slides back out. The first through the door, the second directly into the head of Edward. And Angel alive, but alone. P250, we'll see if he can salvage anything from this position as Dennis looks for the hat trick. Dennis isn't going to find it, but Rain slides out immediately thereafter, and it's 9-9 guns coming out. We'll see if Na'Vi can get an answer. And Na'Vi without Guardian on CT side, by the way.
Yeah, this is the big thing, because they don't have that go-to opper. On the T side, Angel actually picked up the op a couple of times, but you know, it's not going to have the same impact as Guardian. So this is something that Kinguin can take heavily advantage of. And actually, somewhat surprisingly, to see that it's Michaelillo picking up the op on the T side, when Fox was the guy mainly picking up the op on the CT side.
Wow, really awkward lineup. Edward just happened to be on the first step heading to the platform, so he had the elevation to shoot over his teammate's head, but picture an op shooting in return. They would both be down quite so easily. That's Angel this time that plays over toward the A ramp. Zeus has already rotated over to compensate for the gap in middle, so it's a 2-1-2 setup. Bombs dropped in tunnels, as we can see. Dennis will fall back to grab that with a counter smoke. But they still have Michaelillo waiting on the left side of the tunnels. He wants to slide out and at least try and get a pick on this B site. Problem is they've got a push player on the left on the entry. It's C's that waits just by the fence. The M4, but Michaelillo, he does find his shot on Edward. Now C's has to nail the second shot. Does manage to take massive damage into Michaelillo, down to 34, but Dennis pops out and catches him in transition, so B site's open for business. Rotation, though, from Zeus. It's already come in from middle. Unfortunately, oversteps the mark and only able to pick up one. It's immediately traded, and Dennis is stepping up now on this T side. As Flamey gets screamed, that's your lurk. That means it's a 2-on-2 post-plant situation. But Flamey's still got a long way to travel before he can join in with Angel, who catches Fox completely off guard on the big flank. And now this is probable, as Dennis inside the site has two angles to worry about. He'll use the big box to his cover on the right, baits out the sound, does find Flamey, but the second player he knows is up close, spots the jump, goes for the slide, can't do it. Angel's going to win the round, and Na'Vi first gun's going to go their way.
That was really close as well. I mean, even though doesn't necessarily look like the fastest rotation on Earth, that rotation from all the way around from T-spawn from Angel was extremely fast, and that definitely caught Kinguin off guard. So him getting that early frag obviously sets Dennis in a really awkward situation to actually clutch that 1-on-2. So that was just a really good rotation from Angel.
Yeah, that was big that he got there that quickly, because Fox was staring at the stairwell expecting him to be coming directly at Rain with an AK Rain through the smoke. Rip Angel.
Yeah, that's not something you're used to seeing, really. If anything, that would have been Michaelillo's kill normally.
Edward, though, good response, does spot Rain. Takes his time to calculate his movement and takes him down through the door, and Fox now has to win this duel along with Flamey to give Kinguin an opening, and now they've got it. They can split up this defense, thin them out entirely, and they'll go with a 3-1-1. So they've got two actually sliding out to mid, as C's will join in. Coming out from B, but Dennis now taking down Zeus. A's theirs. They don't realize it yet. They still think there might be a player at long, but with the players moving up, they realize it, and we'll get this bomb in position from Scream.
And Na'Vi opting to do the same thing, just trying to hold on to their weapons. Now, Kinguin not really in a situation where they could hunt that freely, so I wouldn't be too surprised if they were just going to hold on to their weapons instead of going chasing after Edward and Zeist. But yeah, getting an early interfag like that onto Angel, trying to control mid, is obviously going to do a lot of good for you if you're Kinguin. And Dennis has just been playing like a maniac on this T side so far. He's just opening up sides, you know, left and right.
And that'll do it. Guns will be saved. Kinguin, without a whole lot of money to work with, won't go on the chase. Not worth the investment. Fox is doing okay with 7,000, but he's going to buy back in for utilities in this round. And 10-10. This game's been close all the way through.
Yeah, and weirdly enough, it's kind of been, you know, it started out going back and forth, and then both teams kind of went on each of their own runs.
Slow buy coming out from Na'Vi that time as they drop the scout over toward Angel.
Yeah,
that means they can't push long.
Yeah, this is a similar buy to what we saw them do on their T side, which they actually went around off of. Because they know that the economy from Kinguin isn't in the greatest of places. So they could potentially punish Kinguin pretty hard, even if they don't win the round.
Edward just barely getting that shot on Scream. So despite that it's a force buy, they now have the man advantage. It brings it a little bit closer, but Angel has to play from the platform because, like we said, he was slow getting out of spawn, so didn't have the advantage of knowing exactly where they were early on. Tries to go for the jump shots. Flamey, though, he got rain. It's Michaelele to respond on Angel with the op from Pit. Late smoke out to cover off the cross, but no one's in position just yet. In fact, there's a slight gap. Seized has full control of this angle should they try and pass by, and the flash is going over top. He knows they're only getting closer as Zeus waits on the catwalk. It's Dennis from his perspective, and Dennis hears him. He knows he's there, and Dennis makes no mistake. Michaelele gets seized, so player holding the cross makes no avail, and it's going to be Edward, the last that's left, stuck on elevator. And Team Kinguin haven't had the lead since the very beginning of the match. They've got it now.
Yeah, Kinguin played that very patiently, and obviously Dennis getting that frag on catwalk is massive. If he goes down, then that's easy for Navi to just have full focus on long the entire time. But I still think Navi kind of played that poorly, because instead of boosting up, and you could see that Flame definitely wanted to boost Edward up because he had an op, and you could just post that up on the site and get more people up towards short and just hold off the entire place and go for a retake, worst case scenario. Instead, they kind of box things up, get clumped up, and take pretty poor challenges. And right now, they have to eco because of it.
Edward, actually it's Seas that gets the kill, but shot over the smoke with the NOA boost at mid. Does give them one to work with. Immediately cancel that though. Dennis is actually getting blocked right now by Fox, but Fox gets the kill through Dennis. Gives them both at mid down, leaves Angel and Edward's actually picked up an AK, so look for the save out of him, and Angel might just try and get some exit kills if they pursue through middle. And he definitely hears one to his left, so hopefully, in his mind, someone will push that direction. But this gives Kinguin now a 2-round lead. Fox finds Angel. Good flash through for that, too. Not taking any chances to drop the AK. And Edward just needs to sit tight inside Pit.
Yeah, he's most likely going to be able to save this weapon unless Fox does something absolutely crazy. But it seems like he's going to reserve himself and just hold on to his own weapon as well. And there's no real value for Kinguin in that situation to go running for them, because they know that now they're going to be able to going to be able to buy up in the upcoming round anyway. So the implication of Edward losing that AK not going to be that big anyway.
Quick, I love it. The movements. Quick strafe jump across the doors, getting up close in the most unlikely position, but late to be as a result. Either way, it's going to be a smoke now, a nade thrown from Edward, and he'll join over and double up the defense on B. This is different, though. This is what we're seeing from Navi that we did not see from Kinguin. A little more cat pressure, and Angel's on the drop if he needs to take the first shot once Zeus either succeeds or fails. He's there for the support play regardless, and Fox, meanwhile, he's just lurking at long. Flamey's playing the unorthodox spot against the wall. Hard right when you come around the corner. Nice bounce flash, though. Angel won't be able to spot anything. He'll have to sit and just wait for the call from Zeus, and Zeus spots one. Angel now has the option to fall out. That's perfect play from the two of them together. And Angel drops, but Zeus doesn't have the same escape plan, so he actually does get canceled out by Dennis in the end, but it's still a win right now from Navi's perspective, and Flamey just needs to sit tight and make sure they don't give up long as well, and that'll give the retake a lot more presence and availability from coming up ramp, and that's going to be the exact case as Edward fires over the edge of the wall, leaves only Michaelele remaining, and Flamey collects on him.
Great catwalk play from Navi, and they actually had a, well, not the exact same setup, but Flamey was playing the same position in that force fire round they had a couple of rounds ago, where Angel would pop flash over the wall, and that's how they, eventually got rain on catwalk. So Navi definitely showing that they're putting pressure as Fox just annihilates Flamey through the wall. It's not safe to cross over apparently.
And they'll go quick on B as a result of this call. Leaves C's only, and C's flashed up, was looking to try and at least get damage from the nade. It bounces backwards, takes his own life away.
Edward, though.
Edward does respond. Quick flank from him. Well done. And very opportunist. I'm done. You know what I meant.
Opportunistic?
Thank you very much.
There we go.
This is why you're here.
Because, yeah, I'm the native speaker, right?
Exactly. But he manages to get through tunnels really quickly and cancels that out. In fact, the one kill that did come off from the player inside B from C's did slow down that push massively.
Yeah, and it's a really strange reaction to see, really. I don't think, anyone on Kinguin expected that, and nor did I, really. And especially because they had both Edward and Zeus pushing into lower dark. So that was just really strange, but Kinguin might still be able to do something out of this. Well, Angel there. Great shot onto Fox. And
they'll end up picking up the round, Hellraisers. Navi, Angel, They're all confusing me, but they'll pick it up, bring it back to 12, and that, like you said, that could have gone the other way, because Fox picking up that kill through the door at mid allowed that rush to happen, and yet Edward's flank really saved it, pulled it back, and he actually divided them before the remaining 2 players were even near B. So they ended up having to go back toward A, and Angel this time wants the counter peek with that nade that comes out. It's Michael switching back over because he didn't have the spawn. He'll go for a late peek. Still a chance if Angel gets aggressive again, and he does realize it late. In fact, goes down to 36 HP. He has to fall off this angle. He can't readdress this again.
Yeah, so Kinguin have managed to kind of rumble Navi a bit. You can see they've already swapped out their initial setup, put Angel up long here, and this is, yeah, the Zeus Flamey setup here on Catwalk is the same one they did in their force buy round. So Flame is just going to kind of hang around in that position and have Zeus pop flash for him as soon as Flamey hears something towards short.
So Angel's completely changed his angle back over toward long. Flash through, fire out. Nice reaction shot from Scream. Dodges the flash, turns back, and nails Flamey. No mistake on the flick. This guy's so well composed, and now it's Michael to find Edward. That doubles up on the advantage. It's 3 versus 5. Scream with only 9 HP, but still alive, still kicking. And Scream, you can never rule out. Fox now finds Zeus. He loses his HP down to 10 for him, but again, it's only Angel and C's that remain. And Angel's on top of the site today. Does manage to pick up Dennis. In the op, he only needs the 1 shot, but Rain finds him over the top of the edge of the smoke as Angel tries to slide out and get another advantage on the angle. But C's, he gets Scream. That's all he gets. Rain will collect him. And it's 13 to 12. Kinguin. This is map 1 out of a best of 2, and it's going the distance. This has been exciting. There's no question about that.
Yeah, and very much back and forth as well. Like, even not just, you know, trading rounds back and forth, but also like within each individual round. And we're seeing a lot of great individual play right there. As you mentioned, Scream just dodging that flash and getting that frag onto Flamey, just allowing them to get onto that A bomb site. Dennis just been absolutely crazy this entire TF.
Nade through. Sees has to sit, hold tight with this P250. Goes aggressive, knowing Edward, or rather, excuse me, Dennis did come up close, but unfortunately couldn't land the headshot as he was planning on doing, and now Rain just wants to spam through the smoke and find Seized. This will allow the push on B all the while, and no one's home at B either, so they'll get a free plant out of this. With only 3 players remaining. Navi might just have to commit the round here. As Angel at least picks up Fox. That drops an AK. But they've got the double op. They're going to try and hold on to both of these. Question is how much chase is worth it right now from Kinguin's perspective, because they don't have a lot of money, so anyone that goes down is going to have to reinvest pretty heavily into the next round. So right play right now, they're not going to even get aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, it would probably only be Rain who had the opportunity to actually do that. Unless Michael wants to drop off his op to someone else and go hunting with an AK. That's pretty much the only option. They're still going to be, you know, okay to actually rebuy.
And that's a bit unfortunate that Rain comes out and Angel pops up a little bit too aggressively. Now the question is, can the other op sustain itself and survive? It does. Zeus at least holds on to 1 for them. And Michael has got a great spawn, by the way, to pick mid.
Yeah, and you can see, well, Rain's got a great spawn for B as well, so if Michael gets that tag once again, you might see a quick B push here.
Oh, Michael playing the back angle. The light prohibits his vision for the 2 close crossers. And couldn't hit the 3rd. I'm not even sure he would have spotted the 2 that crossed over. As he sits tight, tries again on the 2nd effort. Doesn't work out, but Rain's up close, and on that call, he pops out. Zeus has no idea he's there. That's the op already dropped. And the pistol onto Rain does do decent damage. He's in a bit of an awkward spot because they're peeking from either side, and Angel actually does get the kill. He wants to try and at least recover the op. Does so, and turns back. What a shot through the smoke. He just pre-fires it, and Dennis gets caught. Big play from him to at least recover this round.
Well, he's going to be allowed to save the op here, but the round is still going to go to Kinguin. You can see it's only Seized. Only has a scout to work with. He's the only guy really remotely close to the A bomb site. Yeah, and he's going to go down to Michael. So another round for Kinguin, and that puts them in match point, actually. So a bit of a surprising turn of events here on Navi's map.
Again, I mean, you can look into it. Not having Guardian on Dust 2 does hurt. Angel has played quite well.
Oh, he really has.
In fact, he leads the way right now, 23-19, and he came in at 0-3, keep in mind. So there's no faulting Angel on this play.
No, Angel has definitely done his part here, and well, I guess, you know, if you want to, you know, give him anything negative to talk about. He's not having, you know, the 34 frags that Guardian would, I guess, but that's kind of an unreasonable standard to put people to.
That is an unreasonable standard, but it's also a theoretical thing. I mean, who's to say he has that game today? So there's definitely no fault.
Yeah, that's very true. Angel has done everything you could.
Scream gets 2 on entry. I mean, that's the other thing. You look back at some of these rounds, Scream's 1 on 3, which I hope someone makes a clip of, because that was brilliant. Took a round away. Flamey not getting the pistol shot at long. Potentially took a round away. There's just been a few little mistakes here that have shown up on Navi's side that Kinguin have been able to take advantage of.
Yeah,
and again, it hasn't been perfect from them.
Yeah, and that was a pistol round as well, that Flamey bungle on long. So obviously that's a 3-round swing right off the bat.
And it's 4 rounds the